Hey, welcome to this episode of Moonbats. I haven't touched my Sportster since November, maybe December. Motorcycles, Quebec, winter tire laws, all of that. Alright, so Ironhead's on the lift, the Yamaha's on the lift, so I'm working in the aisle today, which means this is where I'm at. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to film this, whatever, we'll figure that out later. So let's tell you what I'm doing. I got two headlights, they're too big, so I got two new headlights, they're too small. Well, they're not too small, they're smaller. So these are really like what I want. So what I want to do is, I want to get rid of these lights. Put on those lights. Easy. Probably not. That's going to involve wiring and stuff. And then I've got some more wiring to deal with. Here's my starter button. At the end of last season, it got super wet and corroded, and it was giving me a hard time, so I'm just going to replace it. That's going to involve taking off the seat, pulling the battery. Yeah, not going to be a great time. So that's really all I gotta do, and then I guess I'll check my tire pressure and everything, because Quebec has this stupid law that says you can't take your motorcycles out. No, what does it say? It says you have to have winter tires from December 1st to March 15th. So that means if you have a motorcycle, you can't ride your motorcycle from December 1st to March 15th. Today, right now, not when this video is airing, but it's March 16th, and it's like, no, it's nice outside. Tomorrow, it's going to be warm. So I'm going to take this bike, and I'm going to go ride it. Because it's motorcycle season. So let's get all this shit ready to ride. Alright, so let's do this. Seat's coming off. Coming in hot. Woo! I got two bolts that hold this seat on. I guess this is cool because I never did a video when I made this seat or this sissy bar or anything, so no one really knows how it's constructed. Or I've never showed really how it's constructed, but it's just two bolts. Come on. It's just two bolts to. Oh boy, it's stuck. I guess I really tightened that down good. There we go. It's just two bolts that hold it all in place, and my bikes see the weather, so things are, they get a little bit rusty sometimes. Alright, two bolts. I also have this cool charger in the seat, so there's a little a wire under here that isn't connected to anything. So, let's put that over. Maybe I'll fix that while I'm at it too. Alright, starter button. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm gonna have to. Alright, so I'm gonna show you. Here's my starter button. I'm gonna loosen these off, and hopefully I can pull it out of here, put in a new one, and then just slide it in with my fingers. We'll see. I double nutted this thing on here, so that way it wouldn't back out. Hopefully the new button that I got has the same kind of thing going on there, so I don't have to worry about it. This isn't a hot wire, power's not on. Well, it's not a hot wire all the time, but it's just a momentary switch. That's all it is. So whenever you take all your hand controls off of your handlebars and you put them elsewhere, then you got to deal with stuff like this. Let's see if I can slide this out of here. There we go. Just come on up. I didn't really think this through, I guess, when I put this all together about how easy this would be. Oh yeah, golden. This is sick. Perfect. So I'm going to show you the switches that I got. Because whatever. So this is just a basic momentary switch from the hardware store. I got two because I always buy things in twos. It's just momentary, so it's always off, and then when you push this button, it turns on. Off, on, and it just, you can sit there and if you really wanted to. Anyways, these are my, I just put some nice little wire connectors on there, so all I have to do, take this guy off, slide this guy back on, or take these two things off, put them back in, slide it back in, tighten it down, and I should be good to go. I'm going to put some dielectric grease on there just to try to prevent it from getting too corroded like it did last time. Like, just slide these things back on. This is like going to be the easiest fix I think I've ever done. Let's see if I can do this all without disconnecting the wires. And so I have a really strict rule about doing work on bikes that whenever I do one thing, I don't go to the next thing until I make sure that that one thing worked. And that's because there's been way too many times that you do something and then you're like, all right, I'm good. And then you start working on the next electrical thing and then you realize, 3 months down the road that it didn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this all up and then I'm just going to make sure that the starter turns over quickly and easily. Alright, there's no gas in the motor, there's nothing, or no gas in the carb, the gas is off, it's been sitting for months. But let's see if it at least turns over. Nothing. Kill switch. Perfect. So we're golden. Alright, so I reconnected the little things underneath the seat. I'm just going to show you why I did that. So I've got this secret stash pocket here, which isn't so secret, but it really just holds a pair of riding glasses and a bungee cord. But the cool thing is that I ride with my son all the time, and so there's a little USB plug in here, and you can just reach in, plug it in, and then as long as the bike is on, it'll turn on, and I'll show you how it works. Here, you can tell that it's on because, see the red light? It's charging. If you unplug something, it's off. Plug something in, it's on. So that's cool. You can close it up and it just hangs out. So when you're sitting in the passenger seat and you need to charge your phone for whatever reason because you're listening to music for 17 hours, that's how you do it. Here are my headlights. Let's see them. Here they are. And they go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And so I've got a fog light here and then a beam there. So that way when I'm riding on the highway, I can have like a wider light and then that's a more direct light. These lights are super bright, but I want smaller ones. It's the same bulbs and everything, so it should be fine. All right, so let's talk a little bit about these headlights. I'm gonna bring you in here to show you what I've done. I've kind of pulled it all apart, so that way it's easy to fix. And then I'll show you what I have to do. So here we go. These headlights are 2-wire headlights. Hot wire, ground wire. So they come down. This is my low beam, which is here, and then this is my high beam, which is here. And these were all nice and wired up nice and neat and tidy so that way they wouldn't get exposed. And I stripped them apart so I knew where I was soldering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all this off right here. And then my new headlights, which are right here, are both 1-wire headlights, which means that they are grounded on the body of the light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ground and connect them together and have 1 wire coming out that'll just bolt on to the side of either here or at the base here, so that way this whole bracket is grounded out on the frame and there's no question about whether or not these lights will work. Those lights will work with just 1 wire coming in. So all I really got to do is snip these guys, connect these two, 1 wire up, and then my wires that are on each of those, I got to extend them a little bit to come back to here. And then that's it. So now the other problem I have is that these bolts right here these mounts are through bolts like this. So these right here use 2 little bolts to kind of like hold the pressure all together. I can do this one of 2 ways. I can either cut off my mount right here and then drill a little hole right there and then mount it with this bolt. What I think I'm gonna do, and it's probably, I'm gonna see how big this, I'm gonna take this all apart and see. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drill these holes out to be the size of this mounting bolt hole, and then whatever this distance is right here, I'm gonna trim these guys down to that size. Now I gotta do some measurements and see, because these are that wide and these are only that wide, so it might not work. We're gonna take it all apart and figure this out together. All right, so you can see on here how wide these are, which isn't bad. It's actually the same width outside to outside is the same as my bracket. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this down and just hit it with my angle grinder, flat disc, and just narrow this mount down, drill these holes out on the side, and I think it's gonna be a pretty easy fix. So we got here. Perfect. So that's good. It'll pinch down nice and tight. I just got to drill the hole in here to make it fit, and then there it is. So that's one, and I'll bring you in so you can see what I did. So I brought it in the bottom there. It's just sitting, nothing really bolted down. So this is what the mounts look like before and after. So I gotta do the same thing to the top one up here. Pretty easy. There. Cool. So I can tighten that down. And once it's tightened down, it won't move anywhere. Alright, so I just did a bunch of electrical garbage. So let me show you what I did here. I swapped out the headlights. I put little butt connectors on the ends with heat shrink all the way up, heat shrink all the way up. And then I put a butt connector again right here at this wire. And so there is a connector down here under the tank to pull both lights off at the same time. But now I can pull one headlight off, and if something goes wrong, I can replace it, fix it, whatever needs to happen. And here is where I did the 2 grounds, and I put them up to here to this really long one, which I'm gonna put a little, I'm gonna put some heat shrink over that, but I left it open so you could see it. And then I'm going to put a little like eyelet, I guess you could call it, this guy, to fit under there on the end of that. Also all heat shrinked up, so heat shrink this, and then I'll have heat shrink over the whole thing to keep it protected. So what I'm gonna do before I do anything is, before I close this all up, I'm going to connect everything, heat shrink this, and then connect my headlights, and then just hold the ground onto to this to make sure everything works. So like I said, I like to test stuff before I close it all up. Here we go. Touching the ground. Let's see if this works. High beam. Yes. Or the low beam. Yes. High beam. I'll have to aim these one night. But that means the light works. So I'm going to close this all up. Simon's being an asshole and connecting his own butt. So like, subscribe, and check out the next video where maybe this stupid iron head in the background will be running. Wave, Simon, say hi. Hey.